Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Today is actually our last lesson in this unit, and the unit is the real number system. So we're going to compare and order real numbers. That's our goal. You are going to complete a do now on rational and irrational numbers sort, just like what we did in class yesterday, so it's more practice. Then we're going to complete our compare and order notes. Your homework is on IXL and your unit test is Friday. So we'll have 2 full days of review before you have your test. So for IXL, I want to remind you that you should be using your Middleborough account, but at the end you're going to use at John T instead of the at Middleborough. And your password, whatever your password is for school. And your lesson is rational numbers to order those. And I'm going to ask you to go up to 80%, but don't try to get 100%. The minimum would be 80%. So please take a minute now and complete this do now by sorting the numbers in the appropriate spots for rational and irrational. And when you're done, I'm going to have you take a look at the key to see if you agree with, if your answers agree with the key. So really the big idea here is that rational numbers are perfect squares, they're whole square roots of perfect squares, they're whole numbers, they are repeating decimals and terminating decimals. Irrational numbers are non-perfect square roots, they are non-terminating and non-repeating decimals. All right, so we're going to look at comparing and ordering. So I'm going to ask you to take a second and type in as many words that you can for each of these symbols. And remember, this is the less than, greater than, this one's less than or equal to, so that one dash, you can see it right there, and you can see it right there. So that means less than or equal to. And then this one is greater than or equal to. So words that might represent least to greatest, ascending, increasing, and if you're going from the minimum to max. So greatest to least would be descending. So I remember it's down or decreasing. Oh, sorry about that. I ran out of room here. Descending and decreasing. And you would go from maximum to min. So when comparing and ordering numbers, it's helpful to represent the values in the same form. So that can be either fractions, decimals, or percents. So would you please stop the video and try these? Before you do, I will do an example for a fraction. If you were going to take 1/3, remember that's 1 divided by 3. So how many times does 3 go into 1? Well, it doesn't. It's too large, but it goes into 10 3 times. And you can see you have your repeating decimal. So this would be 0.3 bar. Now, to take a decimal and write it as the percent, you move your decimal 2 places to the right. And then you add your percent. So this one would be 33.3 bar percent. So for the second one, if we were going to do 0 and 2/10, 0 and 2/10 is equal to 1/5. And remember, to write a decimal as a percent, you move your decimal 2 places to the right, and you add a 0 in this case. So it would be 20%. So remember, a percent is some number out of 100. So you could write 50% as 50 divided by 100, which is 1/2. Right here, 1/2, which is the same as 0 and 5/10. So please try the rest of these. And when you're done, you can restart the video. Okay, in the next section, we're going to compare these using greater than and less than symbol. So we're going to compare -7/8 and -1/2. So if you remember, you need to write -7/8 as a decimal, because it would be hard to have these two fractions have a common denominator, although you could do it in terms of eighths, and this would be -4/8. And remember, the smaller the negative number, the larger the value, so it's greater than. We could also compare them both using decimals. So I know 7/8 is 0.875 or 0.875 thousandths, and it's negative. And now I'm comparing it to 0.500. And obviously, you can see that the larger the negative number, the smaller the value. Okay, so on the second example, we estimate pi as 3.14. So even if instead of using 3.14, if I just use the number 3 and squared it, well, I know 3 squared is 9. And I know the square root of 50 is close to the square root of 49, which is 7. So I know that this is greater than. All right, we're just going to do one more. We won't do these ones. A -60%, and I know 3/4 is 75 hundredths, or -75%. So again, this one would be greater. So the next section, we're going to actually list these in order, and descending means going down. So we're going to look at the largest value. So I know the square root of 121 is 11. I know pi squared is a little bit bigger than 9. And if I think about the square root of 130, I need to estimate that, and I know that it's between the perfect squares of 11 and 12. And so if I thought of square root of 121, which is 11, and the square root of 130, this should be 144. which is 12, I know that there are 144 minus 121, 23 numbers. And you can see you would probably put the square root of 130 right about here, a little less than halfway. So I would say maybe that's close to 11.4. So if we're going to order these, the largest one would be the square root of 130, followed by 11 and 1/10, followed by square root 121, followed by pi squared. All right, you can stop the video and try number 6, and then restart the video or use the teacher key to see if you're correct. All right, again, I'm going to look at these mixed numbers to list them in ascending order, which means increasing. So 5.5 is 5.5 as a ratio. I'm going to look at the square root of 26, which is pretty close to the square root of 25. So I'm going to say a little bit bigger than 5. And then we have 5 and 8/10. And if I want to write 31/5 as a mixed number, I know that 5 goes into 36 times, and there's 1/5 or 2/10 left over. So if I was going to order these in ascending, which means getting larger, I would first take the square root of 26 and 5.5, and then 5 and 8/10, and then 6.2 or 6 and 2/10. Oops, sorry, I'm really tired, so this is coming out a little messy. Let me erase this and redo it. So we have the square root of 26, and you notice I'm leaving this in the form that it was originally written at as. We have 5.5, and then we have 31/5, which is 5 and 8/10, and then we have 6 and 2/10. And that would be our final answer. Okay, if you want to try number 8, again, we're going to order these in ascending order according to their temperatures. So that would be increasing. So please take a couple minutes to try this, doing similar strategies that we did on problem number 7, and then check your answer in the key. All right, thank you for joining me, and your homework is on IXL. Again, I have assigned it, and so all you need to do is log in, and you're looking for 80% or greater. Thank you so much, and have a nice afternoon.